Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, put your hand to the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah, but I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on this shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these shit I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
Alright guys, that has been 4 days of, I don't know what you call it, 4 days of re-engineering. So the main thing, this kit was working on this chassis already. We did this a while ago in some older videos with the blue Volkswagen body. But I'm trying to recreate the car I had in high school. I had a bag, 94 hatchback. And of course I never had this nice of wheels on it, but it was this exact color. And I had Dustin at the 110 Rod Shop a while ago. He color matched this and made the paint and painted this body for me, and it's dead on accurate. And I was going to use it on that drag chassis, but that wasn't what I did. I mean, I took that car to the strip one time and it's not fast, and so I've really been wanting to do this forever, and I finally dug the parts out of the box and started messing with it. I had to wait on some stuff to come from Amazon. We'll get more in depth here as to all the changes that we made, because I've pretty much changed everything on this chassis. Just like my real one in high school, there's not as much lift in the front as there was in the rear. And I still got a little bit of fine tuning. My body mounts I made are a little in the way. I've got to figure out a little bit better way to angle them up and get it to go down all the way. I'm still hitting the rears. One of the parts I had to wait on for a few days were some rod ends. I don't have any, these FF01 chassis, all the TA02s and the old Tamiya stuff, they had fixed upper control arms, so you had set camber, you couldn't adjust it. And now these are so old, I can't just hop on eBay and buy a set of, you know, racing adjustable uppers. So I had to make some out of some RC4 drive rods and rod ends and things like that, and I ran out of short ones, so I couldn't add more camber to the rear, and I need to actually add some more, but I've got to get some different, the M3 rod to put in the rod ends. And yeah, I need a little bit more. That's why it's catching on the back end as it hits this part of the fender and it's hitting the inside of the body. I don't want to put more camber because it already has quite a bit, but I've got to do what I got to do. One thing this body has that mine didn't is the larger front lip. I'm not sure. I might be able to get it to set even lower if I trim that a little bit, but not there yet. Once I fine tune the body mounts, we'll mess with that a little bit more. This car does run and drive. The motor in it is shot, and I was going to do that in this video. I have some cheap ESCs, and I've got a couple different Tamiya motors, but not ready to do that. After so long, I'm ready to wrap this video up. So I'm going to pull the body off and then give you a more in-depth walkthrough of what we did, because I know a lot of people don't like the high-speed stuff. Can't really tell what's going on. Messing with the lighting. I'm filming back in the house. I got out of the camper. Couldn't do enough work out there, so I've got the lighting off in the scale garage because it's just too much brightness behind what we're trying to show here. On the rear, I didn't make any changes really. I mean, this was stuff that I'd done before. I had a rod up here to strengthen it. This is some old carbon fiber from that FJ9, that Fijon drift car that tried to turn into a lot of things. These were the upper links that I made to shorten, give us a little bit more camber. And then we had the PROAIRRC struts. Still pretty much in their same location. I did bring them back a little bit closer to the axle. And yeah, back, where's my remote? The back is working just fine. It lays out fine. The only issue, like I said, was the tires hitting on the upper fender part of the body. And some of that also could be fixed because these are designed to have some toe in as well. And it's a little bit exaggerated on the RC cars, so might have to play around with the arm, see if we can adjust the toe at all, but I don't know. I've never seen anything made to do that with. Alright, so up front's where I spent most of my time. So this has shock mounts that come off, and then it has a bolt for the body post. And I've cut the body post, or I take the body post off, I cut the shock mounts off completely. These struts have a threaded end on them, which I did not know. I'm not sure if you can see that back there, the strut itself has a rod end on top of it, and I discovered that comes off, and that was, oh, that's at least 10 or 12 millimeter higher, so that's why on the other body I had to cut a hole in the hood on each side and have some of that stick through a little bit just to get the body to lay out and tuck and look the way that it needed to. So with doing that, I had the complication of how do I mount that. I need a strut tower type deal. Nothing would really work. If you remember, also you see some carbon fiber down there on the bottom. Had to move the lower shock mount way down. I mean, this car, obviously it runs and drives, but it's not something I would really drive a lot. With the shocks there, it does reduce our turning radius quite a bit. And also drift tires on a front wheel drive chassis, not the best. But it serves its purpose, and the shocks have actually been ground down because they are right on the ground. When I first did this, I had some rubber tires that were a little taller on it, but I was having issues with the air ride because the tires, as it tucks and the body goes down on it, they would catch the rubber and it would stop. So I needed the hard drift tire to allow the body to slide over it and get us the stance that we were after. So I cut the shock ends off and I used the body mount holes. I've got some RC four-wheel drive body mounts from something old that was in my spare bin. They're aluminum. They almost look like servo mounts, but they were body mounts for something. I don't remember what. It was one of their older chassis they don't make anymore. And I had a couple of pieces of carbon fiber still scrapped from that FJ9, and they were the right shape. And I just put it over that like a strut tower, bolted it to the RC four-wheel drive metal, and then bolted those in to the stock front shock mount, or front body mount. And it actually, everything fits down nice and low. I am having one issue. This side hangs up a little bit. We've got to try to keep that airline underneath the body mount. It was getting pinched in there, and that side was sluggish going up. But that's part of the fun of this, just finagling everything around, trying to make it work. Again, it's not going to be a performer, but it does run and drive. This is the original motor I got in this car used off eBay. It's 25 to 30 years old, and it works, but it sparks wildly and it just doesn't quite get the job done. So I've got some other options coming for that, and we'll do that at a later date, and maybe we can actually get this thing out and drive it around and air it out, make it look cool. A little closer look at that, you can see the carbon fiber piece comes through there, wraps around. And originally I was going to put a nut on this. It ain't going nowhere. It has a little bit of slop in it. The strut itself needs a little bit of room to pivot, so when I put a nut on here it was binding. So we just left that like it is. It's captive. It cannot move out when the strut extends. There's nowhere for it to go whatsoever. And I had to modify the mounts on the shock tower. They had an angle for the body mount, so they kind of set on tilted back, and I had to flatten that out and put that in pretty much square. But again, I know a lot of people are going to ask, this is the PROAIRRC air ride kit. These are no longer made. They were made out of Russia. I became friends with the guy that was making it, and he no longer does it. So I know I'll get asked 100 times in the comments. I still get at least one every day. There are still some around. People are setting on some sets. I have one more set that's not being used, and it is broken, and if it ever is found, it is already accounted for. So I don't have anything to sell. I've got some spare struts and things, but I'm going to save those for mine because I've used these on so many kits. These struts, I had some issues with them. They got twisted, so there's like an air bellow inside of this aluminum cylinder, and it kept not going up all the way, and it wouldn't compress all the way, and I unbolted the strut and it spun around. So it has a certain orientation, the top shaft and the bottom shaft, it has to be, and it's a miracle that they were still working after being mounted wrong for so long. But pretty resilient stuff from what I've put it through. Now my other set is on my Sin Racing F450, and I don't know that they'll stay on that forever. I've got something else coming up that it may go on eventually, but that's a topic for another video. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up because, like I said, this has been 4 days of just fighting with this. But hope y'all enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Like doing crazy stuff with RC cars. Stay tuned for more. Keep it scale.